Hey Escolarians! I'm Kristoffer Zamora. I took up BSBA major in management in CEU. Currently, I am a regional events marketing manager and the only Filipino in the global events team of Bloomberg LP. So I took up BSBA in management because my mom used to have her own business where I help a lot back in the day. And out of the many courses that were available out there, I feel like taking up business management would really set me up for exploring multiple industries. And it won't really contain me to one particular industry. And when I was really looking at, the curriculum plus the opportunities of scholarship, I found, a few options to be a scholar in CEU. That's why I chose CEU. When it comes to BSBA, CEU has actually provided like a good set of subjects around management that I, truly enjoyed. I think the internship program also, being able to work in a particular company or team, also allowed me to have a better understanding of how, the corporate workforce would look like and the environment would look like. Juggling between extracurricular activities and BSBA, I truly enjoyed a lot of, sitting down with my classmates and friends in between. I've always been running around back in the day when my classmates are eating the siomai rice or just really waiting for the next class to happen. If I'm not busy with some student council work, I had most of simple joys of just hanging out with friends. I've always wanted to become a regional manager. I've always wanted to, work in a much more international arena, if you will. And I think being here in Singapore for the last 10 years and taking over regional roles throughout my career is something that I'm most proud of. And more beyond that, I think what's really missing in my marketing is really the events marketing side. So when I got an offer to join Bloomberg as a regional events marketing manager, I actually accepted it because I truly love curating events, much more how you actually use events to drive and support the businesses that you're in. I am the only a Filipino in the global events team of Bloomberg. What I like working abroad is I get to work with other nationalities. I get to do a lot of projects that span across the globe and across the region, which then allows me to know more about these local markets that I cover. So I think another tip for Escolarians to think of when you work abroad is that you have to make sure that you really build your network. You don't burn bridges when you join companies abroad. Places I've visited, I think for the last 10 or 12 years, I've been traveling around both for pleasure and for work. Top of mind whenever people ask me around countries or favorite countries or cities, I would think of New York in the US as my favorite city. What I like about New York, and that's why I've always been going back, again, both for pleasure and work, is that the city is really full of energy. You meet a lot of people coming from all walks of life. And I think, growing up watching a lot of US films and seeing New York as a backdrop, the moment you step into New York, it's almost like you know the city. The second country is actually Australia, particularly Melbourne. I like Melbourne because of its graffitis and arts that you see along the laneways. So when I first moved to Singapore, I joined an organization here that actually helps a lot of domestic helpers, primarily coming from the Philippines and Indonesia. Some of these domestic helpers have been abroad and away from their family, for the longest time. And they actually moved to Singapore and work abroad, to provide for their families. And I think it's important, that we actually empower this overseas Filipino workers, not only to work abroad for the entirety of their lives, but be able to go back home in the Philippines, put up their own businesses, eventually also empower their children and their relatives to do the same. I have this, one-liner on my Facebook profile. It says, "Wrestle with your craft." And I like the thought of it because you're really only as good as how you'd like to be at the end of the day. You're as good as the skills that you try to learn and acquire. You're as good as how you deal with different people, how you treat them, more importantly. So you always have to wrestle with your passion, your daily grind, or your work, and be able to become a better person every day out from it.